Welcome to Dad Bods, Crabcakes, and Sports, where husky middle-aged men share insight on the latest Baltimore sports news. From the bank to the yard and beyond, we're breaking down the Ravens, Orioles, Terps, and more. Baltimore's best sports podcast starts right now.
Good evening and welcome to Dad Bods, Crabcakes, and Sports. All three of us are here again, Jason, Mike, and John. Guys, I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas out there and a Happy New Year. I don't know why John is making faces, Mike, and doing things. Do you know why he's doing that?
No. Mm-mm. Is he sad?
John, is there a problem here? Or are you keep tapping your ears and doing a dance? John, like, did you see the face John's making? This is great. This is great podcasting. Okay, good. John's dead. All right.
He's back.
Oh, good. John's back. Okay. Well, we'll let John figure out whatever the hell John's doing. I never know. I never know what he's doing, Mike. What's he doing
What is he doing down there?
Mom and Meatloaf!
Oh my gosh, what is she doing?
All right, back to the program, everyone. Again, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I mean, before we get into today's exciting news and whatnot, Mike, how was your Christmas holiday?
We had an awesome Christmas here at the Frisky household. The one nice thing about Frisky Christmas, say that 3 times fast, is that we never really have to travel because my in-laws, they live my mother-in-law lives up in Jarrettsville. My family lives down in Chase in eastern Baltimore County, and so we become a hub for Christmas Day, and everybody comes here. And we did taco Christmas this year, so we had 3 taco proteins. We had salmon, we had a sweet and sour shrimp, and we had a honey garlic chicken tacos, which were amazing. And then obviously getting to spend the time with the kids and the family and the presents and the music of Christmas. And then for a teacher being off for almost 2 weeks, I think it is. This is the time of year where teachers get disoriented because we don't know what day it is between Christmas and New Year's when we go back to school. So I don't know what day it is really. It could be Tuesday, it could be Thursday, it could be Sunday. And I've probably been wearing the same shirt for, I don't know, 3 or 4 days. But it's great.
Well, due to the fact, Mike, that there was a lot of football on today, I'm pretty safe to say if you said Sunday, I mean you'd probably be right.
Good guess.
So I think you're good. John, how was anything exciting going on? Did you have tacos as well, or are you not that exciting?
No, I ordered a butcher box, like you suggested, Jason, and that meat is phenomenal. So I made a New York strip steak wrapped in bacon. And then a little later in the day, that was about noon, and I started getting hungry about 6:30, 7 o'clock. And I didn't have any meat out. So there's a Subway not too far from my house. So I went to Subway. Subway was open, and I had a Subway sandwich later in the day. But, I had that option, McDonald's or Wendy's. So I tried to be healthier and choose the better option of the 3.
Oh man,
you're being a good influence on my life, Jason. Trying to eat healthier and not use plastic.
Yeah, Mike. I mean, or Mike, John, you're 90% of the time, if you're doing the right thing, or 80% of the time, as long as you're thinking about what you're doing. And then trying to alter it. The fact that you didn't go to McDonald's or Wendy's to me is a great step in that direction. It's baby steps. We're not trying to change things all in one foul swoop. Mike, I have a bone to pick with you. As everyone knows, Mike sent me golf clubs that I purchased from him. Actually, he graciously gave them to me and I paid for the shipping last year. I have yet to use said golf clubs, except I took them out 2 days ago. Mike, they don't work. They don't work. I want to send them back.
You want a refund?
Okay?
Oh man.
I don't know what the hell is happening down here, but I went out golfing with my brother-in-law, and it was a shit show for the most part. I got like an elbow thing going on, so it's like I had kind of like pain through it, but then it wasn't that big of a deal. But it's the same old stuff. I swing a golf club once a year and expect, not to make a total fool of myself. But I guess the point is just getting out there and having a good time, Mike, which you cannot do currently in cold Maryland.
Well, I'll be doing it tomorrow.
Oh, burr.
It's going to be 52 degrees at noon. So my hope is to get outside to the golf course. We'll see how that goes. We were searching the forecast for the next week or so when we're off to try to find a day. It's like 32 high, 31 high. Tomorrow is 52 with 22 mile per hour winds and 44 mile per hour gusts. So I'm not expecting a great thing on the golf course, but I'm just trying to get out a little bit. And Jason, don't feel bad. A lot of people play golf once a year and a mixed bag at that point. So just got to play a little more. That's all.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. It's funny because like I'll hit a couple shots and then they'll be like, "Oh, you only play once a year?" I'm like, "Oh, just wait a minute, just hold on." And then I'll hit the next couple shots. I'm like, "Oh yeah, you only play once a year." See, told you. I mean, come on. But no. I mean, to each his own. Now, I wanted to break down a couple things or just mention a couple things. We do have some avid listeners to our show that have thrown out a couple ideas of things that we should do to enhance our show, mainly coming up in 2026. And just a couple little ideas. The suggestion has been made that we drink heavily during these shows. So we should increase our drinking. Not you, John. You say enough crazy shit that you don't need any alcohol to help you. So don't get all happy and giddy. I'm talking about Mike and myself.
So are we talking about like that drunk history show on Comedy Central where they go through like the history and as they're drinking beer and then, you know what I'm talking about?
So I have a couple concerns with all of this. The main concern would be, I mean, I think to participate, you have to be able to have drank for 21 years. So Mike and I would qualify for that. We are able to drink for at least 21 years. And then I question the fact that Mike and I are old and we might actually fall asleep whilst drinking during the show. So then no one will say anything.
So we got to record in the morning. We got to
Right.
record early in the morning and drink mimosas or something.
Oh, God. Well, so then one of the other things was that, Mike, you come down here for spring training and we try to do stuff at the ballpark once or twice, but also that we go out to the golf course and somehow film funny videos on the golf course. So those are things that could come to 2026. You never know. So stay tuned.
People say I'm a lot more fun when I'm drinking. I think it's just because I'm not fun generally, but it could be a lot of different ways. Take it probably.
Did you finish that cranberry vodka, Mike?
I don't remember how that was finished up. It might have been a family member who took care of that, John. But real quick, before not to change the subject, but Jason, we didn't hear about your holiday. How was Christmas for you guys?
Well, the golfing was involved. But other than that, yeah, I mean, it was pretty low key. My brother-in-law came up. My uncle came in he lives like 2 hours from here, hour and a half. But other than that, it was just pretty low key, fantastic. So my wife spent the majority of the time in the kitchen and loved every second of it because she is really trying to pick up her skills on making everything from scratch, which she is succeeding greatly. So that is what we're doing currently over here. And yeah, it was a good Christmas. Currently, my wife and my daughter are on a girls' trip to Nashville, Tennessee, as part of my daughter's surprise Christmas present to do some Taylor Swift. I guess Taylor Swift moved there and started her career there. There's all kinds of odes to her out there, the Country Music Hall of Fame, all of that fun stuff. So I'm flying solo with my 7-year-old little stud who is currently sleeping. Thank the good Lord. So that's where we're at. So,
John, anything Christmas present wise for either of you guys that was exciting?
I didn't get any Christmas presents.
Oh my God!
I got the Grinch. I got the coal in the stocking, and I buy what I want when I want it, and there's nothing anybody can really get me. I mean, my parents got me a Aldi gift card. I mean, that was helpful, Get some.
You got like 25 Dad Bods koozies for me for early Christmas presents.
Yeah.
Set them down, right?
I'm passing them out. So Jason, I mean, I can exchange the golf clubs for the koozies. Could meet you halfway or swing
Oh.
by your house and if the golf clubs don't work, I could see if I can make them work and then could give you some koozies.
So I feel like I have to make like I may want to go out and play again. So I think I'm going to rent out these clubs. So I will rent them to you for 100. How much was it, Mike? 150 for $150 for a couple days, and then I'll make up my money. So
You can just
that's
have
how
the
we're going to
odd
do it.
clubs, and John can have the even clubs, and then you
Right.
can just see how that works.
Yes, I'm sure that would go great.
So who gets the putter? Because the putter starts with P and there's no number on it.
I just putt with a wood, Mike. I'll just putt with a wood. I think it'd be fine.
Texas wedge.
So the gifts, I got it. So I won't pull the trigger on things because I don't want to spend money. It's stupid. So I've had the same phone since before COVID, and my wife bought me one of the new iPhones, and I was like, just so you all know, it's still in the box. I haven't taken it out of the box yet. I plan on doing that tomorrow, I think. I don't
Jason,
like
you are
sitting
gonna. Your
out.
mind is gonna do this. It's just gonna blow up because
Yeah,
there
that's
is
what I'm afraid
so
of.
many.
What
Or
I
you just put
need
me
to-
and Mike in there and nobody else, and then it'll all be
Yeah,
okay.
dude, I need it to make phone calls. I need it to text. I need it for all my dumb sports and fantasy apps. I need it for all like that. That's really it. Like right now, my phone dies after like using it for 3 hours, and I gotta charge it. It's got cracks in it. It doesn't work. Like I can only talk on it on an AirPod because the speaker no longer is loud enough. But we're trucking along. But I digress. The so big things are happening in Baltimore sports, mainly with the Baltimore Ravens. So today, well, actually last night, the Ravens did defeat the Packers. What was the final score of that? 40 something
41,
to
41 to 24.
so it was a close game pretty much for the majority of it, but I mean there were parts of it where what I didn't think the Packers were going to come back. I didn't think we would. I mean, it was just back and forth, but then they comfortably moved away towards the end. Um, and now, what the Ravens needed to have happened, I'm sure, is now everybody is aware. The Pittsburgh Steelers had to lose to the Cleveland Browns, and that's exactly what happened today. So now, John, you are punished, and you are not allowed to really participate in these conversations as Mike is a witness because you texted us last night and said, I had a tough week. I don't even want to stay up and watch this crap before the game even started. So I'm disappointed in you. Shame on you.
I did
You
stay up and watch
are
the whole
like
game.
the
though.
Grinch.
I fell
So-
asleep a little way about halfway through the game, and I woke up at the end of halftime after Henry's second touchdown in the first half. So then I watched the remainder game and then went to bed. Happy.
So, I mean, Mike, I'll tell you, I'm not really surprised at all by this outcome. I mean, if you look at any of the bets I made over the weekend, whatnot, I had the Ravens winning. I had Pittsburgh losing, and all in a parlay type thing. And the only thing I needed was one more pass, or one more catch by Zay Flowers, and I would have won like $700. So that was a good time. I was a little nervous,
Man.
but again, I digress. But what I'm getting at is I mean, this is kind of everything. And Bruce said it, what, a week and a half ago that the Ravens and the Steelers would be playing for the division on Saturday night. I don't know if this is exactly how he had it drawn up, but this is where we are.
Yeah, I mean, I think the stars lined up here for a Steelers loss today. Steve Seaver says, "Thank you, Browns." I agree. Jim, we talked both. We're all texting Jimmy today. We're like, "Hey, Jimmy, we need a little help from the Browns gods over there." And for a while there, I was thinking, this is what it feels like to be a Browns fan as the Steelers crept back into the game and felt like they were going to win the game, honestly, at the very end. But they made just enough plays. Without having DK Metcalf this week and next week, that hurts Pittsburgh immensely. TJ Watt was out again this week. Again, he'll probably play next week, which will be tough because Highsmith looked great again today. He's really jumped off the charts at people. So those two guys on the ends are tough. But you know what? They had pulled a couple horseshoes out of their rear end the last couple weeks, I feel like, and it was due to end. And they always have a hard time. I think they're 1-6 in their last 7 games in Cleveland. Tough place to play. Their kicker hasn't been very good the last few weeks. He's been kind of shaky. But you know what? It was a low scoring affair. I watched the entire game. You and I were texting at the end, Jason, and we were just holding on for dear life. And all I wanted over the last couple of weeks is just the Ravens to have a chance in this last week of the season to make the playoffs. Because as a fan, there's nothing more exciting than having an entire season with something on the line. So for that to happen, regardless of the outcome next week, I was super excited to see that they have a chance next week and they can decide their own fate once again.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty much along the same lines here. I wanted Week 18 to actually matter, and I mean that's where we're at right now. I don't want to get into who they could play and who we want them to play and all this nonsense with the Texans and the Bills. Like that sounds exhausting right now. That just sounds exhausting. Worry about that one when it comes down to it. But you know what? It's John. We talked about this a couple months back where it's like the Ravens have the last few years have always been in the driver's seat. You know, they're going to make the playoffs. They have a higher seed. They get in there and then there's disappointment. Where the last Super Bowl that they won the division, but they went in, I don't want to say as an underdog because I felt confident and I thought they'd beat the Texans when they beat the Texans. But then when they went to Denver, I did not think they were going to beat Peyton Manning, and they did. So it's like they almost went in unassuming as an underdog. And no matter what happens, I mean, if they make it to the playoffs, that's exactly what they'll be, even if they're hosting a game.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna. I think even like you said, even hosting a game, I don't think that they're gonna be favorites to win. But I'll tell you what, though, that game last night really, I guess that's the way we should have been playing, and it gave I'm hoping that game last night brings the offensive line further along and gives them some confidence for next week. Obviously, Green Bay was short a couple defensive linemen. Probably one of the best, if not the best, pure pass rusher in the league. And Parsons, you know, they were a little shorthanded. But the offensive line did a good job of opening holes. I mean, look at that. We ran the ball on a 3rd and 6, and he got 8. So I think that game last night, there was two things I think take away from that game last night. One with the Ravens is that offensive line just kind of manhandled the Packers, and hopefully will give them a good push for next week with a much stouter Pittsburgh defense. And then 2 was Willis auditioned last night. That I think in what he did last night for the Packers will show a lot of interest further on down the line here in the offseason because he's a free agent. That I think a quarterback needy team will be very, very open to bringing him in. And you know, he made the first drive. He made 2 just great passes. Wiggins got beat a little bit on the one, but he showed he can run, he can throw, and I think Willis next year could be the hot quarterback on the free agent market.
Yeah, I mean, it's for something like that, John. I mean, you got to get to the right spot. I think Mike, somewhere like the Rams, they might grab somebody like him and tuck him away. But John, I do want to take. You said a much stouter Pittsburgh defense. I'll disagree highly. Going into before Parsons got injured, Green Bay's defense was pretty good, and they were able to get a lot of pressure on the quarterback. But they've had some injuries that creep up the last couple of weeks that are not allowing that to happen. Pittsburgh is not good defensively. They do not scare me defensively. What scares me defensively, or what scares me, is it's a Ravens-Steelers game. And anything can happen. I see you shaking your head, Mike. You agree. Like you're just waiting for the other shoe to fall. You're waiting for that crazy thing to happen. Whether Torrey Smith gets open, runs down the side towards the end, catches the pass, or Ben Roethlisberger throws a long touchdown pass to Bernie in the playoffs. Like this crap has been going on for years. I'll be honest, whether it's Huntley or Lamar, I'm not too. I think it's going to be a good game. It'll be a close game. I don't know. I'm not willing to say who's going to win or anything yet, but I do think that, I mean, they put themselves in a good position. Even in that New England game, they played bad for a quarter. But now defensively, for me, Mike, I will tell you, this was the worst game that I've seen Wiggins play as a Raven. But that's okay. We all have bad days. So I'm hoping that's all that is.
Well, yeah, and you're going to be covering Adam Thielen and Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I mean, it's not exactly, um, a circus out there of amazing football receivers. So that doesn't really worry me too much. Again, the way the Ravens lose this game is turning the ball over, like they have all year long in losses that they've had, and the Steelers know how to do that. With guys like T.J. Watt and even like I said, Highsmith has turned it on. Patrick Queen's looked pretty good. You've got some of those guys on the outside, Porter Jr. There's some guys who have a propensity to turn the ball over, and we've got to stay away from that. John, I just want to touch on one thing you said really quick. You talked about Malik Willis, and I don't know if it was a tweet or a social media post talking about the mismanagement of the Tennessee Titans. Think about them. They should have Mike Vrabel as the head coach. They should have Malik Willis, Derrick Henry, and A.J. Brown. And think about what that looks like now where those pieces have separated and how good each of those pieces are separately and how bad that was that they tore that all apart.
Well, so wasn't LaFleur in Tennessee when they drafted Malik Willis? Like he
I
took
believe
that
so.
job like right after that. Like
It was
I
the
don't
offensive
think he
coordinator,
was-
I think, wasn't he?
Yeah, but I mean he wasn't playing or anything yet. Like I mean they were still going with Tannehill and whatnot. But I will tell you, I don't think that things would have worked out, Mike, with Willis if he. I think he needed the perfect situation. He needed that Shanahan tree. He needed a LaFleur, a McVay, somebody like that can see it. The guy out. I mean, Minnesota's gonna. They might be interested in another quarterback. So there's all kinds of things out there like this. He just needs to be unlocked, and that's why the NFL to me, like even watching Bryce Young play, like okay, I mean, you guys are throwing these number one draft picks out there and making them play, but not many of them are going to succeed immediately. Like Drake May, let's just talk about Drake May. Perfect situation. I mean, whether it comes down to him or Stafford, the tomorrow night essentially will be to determine who's going to be the MVP in my eyes. So, I mean, I think Drake May's doing less or more with less than the weapon Stafford has. But that's a whole different conversation. But when you have guys that can unlock these players, I think that's why Willis is going to have that big paycheck coming up. And yeah, I mean, I think he'll be a starter, and that would suck. Look out also, Mike, for oh man, who's the one guy we talk about all the time? That the names are that San Francisco drafted, and he's a backup right now. Is it in
Trey
Dallas?
Lance. Trey
Trey
Lance.
Lance. His name might get thrown around if he goes to the right situation too.
Josh McDaniel, you have to give him some credit for what Drake May's doing up in New England. I mean, there's a lot of things you can say about him as a head coach that aren't probably very good, but whenever he's been in a situation as an offensive coordinator, he really has thrived and done a really nice job with the team. So I think you got to give a lot of credit. But Drake May, 5 touchdowns today, 19 of 21 passing, that's MVP caliber numbers. That's like Lamar was putting up when they played LA a few years ago and he got his first MVP. I think you got to give Drake May a lot of credit, and we saw him up close last week. He's the real deal. I didn't know if he was going to be the real deal going into this season. I would have said his ceiling was probably a mid-tier, maybe outside edge of the top 10, and he's now probably a top 5 quarterback in the league, which is really impressive for New England. But to wind back to the Ravens-Steelers game, Jason, I know that's where we're headed. Who do you think starts quarterback-wise next week for the Ravens? And how much do you think that impacts the game, whether Lamar can go or not? John, let's start with you, buddy.
I think they're going to start Snoop. I mean, if Lamar is 100% healthy, you start Lamar. But if there's any inkling that he's hurt at all, Snoop has won the 2 biggest games of the season this year for us. And I think that if it's going to be we're going to hand the ball to Henry, we're going to try to impose our will on the Steelers. It doesn't matter. You, me, Jason, whoever. We can turn around and hand the ball off to him. And Snoop, I think, understands the offense. He showed it on last night that he is a very capable backup. He made the right decisions. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. And I think either way we go, we'll be fine. But I think I'm leaning towards Snoop starting.
I mean, what are we doing here? Like, what are we talking about? I mean, you have a two-time MVP, a Hall of Fame quarterback. The question is, and who's going to start? The question is, does Lamar want to play football this year anymore? And I'm sorry, but I've about had it listening to all this nonsense going around. I mean, I was first one, and this might not be very popular, everyone. I think if Lamar isn't 100% in his mind, he's not going to do it. He's done this before where he takes longer to come back. I'm hesitant that he plays. I said to both of you guys yesterday that I don't think Lamar plays the rest of this season, but I don't think I'm just going to stick with that and say that I think it's going to be Huntley because I think Lamar is going to hold himself out, Mike. As bad as that sounds.
I mean, do you question Lamar's toughness? I know a lot of people have questioned Lamar's toughness or his maturity. I think about watching Josh Allen play today. I was watching him play versus the Eagles, and his foot's banged up. Like he's been, banged up all year long. Obviously, Lamar's been banged up, foot, ankle, hamstring, toe, back now, But you see some of these guys willing, I think, to play through some more maybe pain threshold. We can't know how much pain Lamar's in. I know it's not realistic for us to try to figure that out. But it seems like whenever there's a big moment, most of these guys step up and do whatever they can to play. That doesn't seem like Lamar's MO. I'm not saying that it is due to the pain because I can't tell you. But what do you guys think? It seems like that's what it feels like to me.
I think Justin Herbert had surgery on a Monday and played football the next few days. I think that Lamar Jackson would never do that. And where there is smoke, there is fire. Okay. With the fact that there are reporters, a very respected reporter in the industry, maybe not in Baltimore fans because he writes something people don't like, but Mike Preston, like when reporters start leaking things or writing things, it's because they're being leaked from the team usually. So if things are coming out that they're unhappy, there's some truth there. Do I think that Lamar has kind of dictated where this organization is going for certain things? Absolutely. But I mean, do I know that for a fact? No. So it's not fair for me to say 100%. But no, I do think Lamar, if he doesn't feel 100%, he's not going to play, where a lot of these other guys will gut it out, Mike. So that's where I'm at. I don't think he's that gutted out type mentality.
Well, and I think he's different too. He's not you're a drop back passer. You can do a lot more hurt than a guy like Lamar, right? So you look at Lamar, and if he's not feeling 100%, and clearly he can't get out and run, he can't do those things with his legs that make him so valuable. That I'm assuming that's in the back of his head, and that's why he's not going, because then half your game is taken away. And I still don't think that he's ever going to be a pocket passer, somebody who can just stand in the pocket and throw the football. And I think that's where he gets in his own head saying, where we all see it and these other experts see it, that he could be a drop back passer. The running doesn't have to be part of his game. But in his head, it's, if I can't run, if I can't escape, then my game is basically gone. So I'm thinking that's got to have something to do with it. But then I go back to the movie Miracle. You guys have seen the movie Miracle? There's a scene in that movie where the coach goes to him and he goes, "Doc says I got a contusion." "Oh, you got a bad bruise. Get on the plane and go home." And I'm like, he has a back contusion. It's a freaking bruise, man. Get up off your ass. Get out there. You're on a football team going to make the playoffs, and you're being paid more than any player on this damn team. Get out there and play.
Mike, the other thing too is it sets the tone for the rest of your team and everybody watching around. It's like, oh, well, okay, if he gets hurt or blah blah blah. I mean, I get the hamstring thing. Like Malik Willis, I thought he was coming out of that game last night. I thought he did something. He didn't. He stayed in there. I mean, I don't want to question the guy's character too much. all I'm saying is like, and I don't believe everything that's out there about everything, but when there are rumblings, there's usually a little bit of truth in one area or the other.
Yeah. I mean, watching Josh Allen, John, a lot of the quarterbacks in this today's NFL have to be able to run a little bit. It's not the NFL with Philip Rivers and Peyton Manning and Eli Manning where it's just drop back and throw. Like you have to have some escapability to your game. I'm watching Brock Purdy and Caleb Williams right now. I mean, those guys can both get out of the pocket if they need to. They said Caleb Williams was clocked at 20 miles per hour at some point this year. Like these guys can move, and that's today's NFL. So I don't give Lamar that excuse. Does that mean I blame him? No, but I don't give him that excuse. I'm sorry.
You have to at least be able to move laterally too. Like, I mean, if you watch Snoop last night, he was able to move a little bit, and then choose his places front. Same thing with Willis. But and like Drake May, um, uh, like you said, Josh Allen, Caleb Williams, all these guys, even Aaron Rodgers made a career out of it. Steve Young, if you want to go back real, like even back in the day. So it's, I don't know. I'm with you, Mike. I am skeptical. I look. This is what Lamar I think needs to understand. A 70% Lamar is still better than 65% of the league, if not more. So, and that's a compliment. So
Yes.
you take with that what you must. And you know what? The key to this is maybe this is what happened in 2012, Mike, when the offensive line, all of a sudden McKinney comes back, they plug him in the left, they can move over to the right side. All of a sudden, they like Flacco wasn't touched in the playoffs. So
Yeah.
now they're gelling. Obviously, not the same thing, but this offensive line had a really good game. If they build on that, all of a sudden, oh boy. Well, now if Snoop Huntley, who gets rid of the ball also, to his um, credit, gets rid of the ball a lot quicker than Lamar does. But so whatever way they decide to go, I still, like I said, I still think it'll be a good game. Did you have something, John, you wanted to add?
Yeah, well, what I was going to say is you also going into this game Sunday, you're not worried about the same things you're worried about against the Packers, right? You got you got just beat by Willis's legs, right? You just got destroyed. Where playing the Packer or playing the Steelers, you can just worry about freaking rushing the passer because Aaron Rodgers is not going to beat you with his legs. So the goal this week is you have to get pressure. We have to have him on the ground. We have to have him, getting somebody in his face on every play. But you can go a straight rush at him instead of having to worrying about, okay, are we enclosing him? Are we having a spy on him? Are we, doing those things? And so I think I'm hoping that we're going to get Hamilton up by the line a lot more this week, and that we can get that straight pass rush and explode, on that route. Because I think that was why the game was close on Saturday, was because Willis just broke out for 2 touchdown runs because we couldn't contain him. And I think this Sunday we don't have to worry about that as much.
Yeah, and
Well,
John, just to build on what you were saying too, offensive line wise, Jason and John, without Voorhees in there, right? I think it's Emery Jones. Is that who was plugging that hole? I didn't see a ton of what they were doing substitution wise, but he seems like he's gelled a little bit better, maybe in that group, and maybe that's a difference maker. But I think you got to keep in mind too, and Jason, you hit on this when you talked about Snoop, is how quickly he gets rid of the ball. We haven't had a lot of time to push the ball downfield all year long. And part of Lamar's issue is holding on to the ball too long to try to create plays downfield. And he hasn't had the line that's allowed him to do that. And so maybe the way that Snoop fits in is that he can get rid of the ball quickly and can get your ball offense moving. But that, to me, if Lamar is healthy, he can play, he can do the same thing. He's just got to adjust his game a little bit. And I think that's also why you see Bateman's numbers down this year, is because we're not pushing the ball down the field. We don't have the time to do that. So many people are claiming that Bateman's not good anymore. He's washed up. What was that deal? That was a reasonable deal to sign him. I think you got to cut him a little bit of a break this year and maybe like just ease up a little bit on Bateman.
I would agree with that. I mean, I do think they're missing kind of an alpha wide receiver. I mean, Flowers isn't. I mean, they're going to have a decision to make, guys. $28 million is what I think Flowers would make if they tag him or they pay, like, because he's got that option coming up. Or no, yeah, the 5th-year option I think is ridiculous. So they're going to have to figure out how to get him into the loop because he's not somebody that should be paid in the top 5% of wide receivers in my mind. He is a top-notch number 2 wide receiver on a really good team. He's like the Devontae Smith to the AJ Brown. So you need to find your AJ Brown somewhere. Maybe it's AJ Brown. Who knows? But that's a lot of stuff we can talk about down the road. But yeah, I mean, again, I do think it'll be. I think the game plan. I don't have a whole lot that like the last few weeks. There was a lot of complaining, a lot of yelling at the coaches, and I get it. Last week was deserved. Having Derrick Henry on the bench, I like Mike. You and I were talking about during the game for the last 12 minutes of the game is a joke. I mean, I mean, Ali should probably never see the field again. In a perfect world, just leave Derrick Henry out there. He can catch the football. If you want to give him a break, then put Mitchell in. Like, there's no reason for Ali to be in there in that type of instance because they know what you're gonna do. It's to me, I would leave Henry in there for as long as he can stand up. And then now, if Justice Hill was back, I would think differently because I think Justice Hill is very good at what he does for this team. Probably one of the better in the league as a third down back. So again, whole different story. So don't have a lot to blame the coaching staff for, which is a good thing. I do think that defensively there needs to be. I think Marlon Humphreys. I think the fact that he's gotten a couple interceptions has made him look a lot better than he has been. He has been out of position a few times and have really cost them. And then Wiggins had a really tough game, but I'm willing. I mean, what are you gonna do? You're gonna bench the guy that's your future? You can't. You got to get through it. And with him going forward, you just got to throw him back out there. You don't have unlimited cornerbacks, but we'll have a lot of stuff coming up for draft talk and free agency and all that stuff down the road.
Well, let me say one thing. The one thing on Locked on Ravens today, they were talking about is the Ravens need a number 3 receiver who can separate. Because right now, Hopkins has one of the worst separation rates of any receiver in the NFL. He can catch the ball if you throw it near him, but he is not getting separation. And that's also not helping our down the field passing, which if you have a guy getting separation every time, then you're going to get your number 2 receiver in Bateman is going to get more open because you're going to have to figure out what to do with the separation. And I think that's something in the offseason the Ravens are going to have to either touch on or they're going to have to say, do we have that person in-house, in Walker or in somebody else?
Well, I think Bateman's your number 3. Flowers is your number 2, who unfortunately you're going to have to pay like a number 1. And maybe you draft a number 1 or you sign one. And that's how you fix that problem. And, you let Hopkins ride off into the sunset. But that's a whole different story.
I mean, he's made some big catches this year. I mean, there's some touchdown
he's going
catches.
to catch the ball. He's always been like that his whole career, though, guys. Come on. Like, if you watch him, he's never been a huge separator, but his hands are some of the best I've ever seen. And same thing now with Devontae Adams. Like, you throw it up there, most of the time it's going to come down with it. But as far as but that's not the key to it either. I mean, those guys, I get it. I know what they're saying. A number 3 to be able to separate, but there's a lot of other things that they need before we even get
trenches.
To that
it's called trenches.
Right. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to go out and I'm going to say it. I've been saying it for months, Mike, and I'm going to be pounding this desk the entire offseason. Offensive line help, wherever you want. Offensive line help across the line and defensive line help. However it looks, however it comes. Now they're going to have to make a decision because they are old in some. They're signing back Andrews, right? They're going to likely walk. They're going to probably sign Kohler, which is good because then you can still do that, and then you draft another tight end. So that's kind of fixed now. But I mean, I was thinking Max Crosby, something like that, but that's older. So those guys age well, I guess.
And they did re-sign Travis Jones.
Right.
They extended him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's big, literally and figuratively. It's big. Yeah.
He almost had, I mean, look, he wasn't going to, like, he had Willis and then he like stepped left and he was gone. But
he had 2 sacks in the game.
Yeah. Yeah. So look, I I mean, there's a lot to build on here. And then Matabike is going to be the big question mark. What does his career look like after this? And then they'll make their decisions. But Mike, I'm telling you, I I've been following the Eagles for a long time on what they do in that organization. They're successful for a reason. Yes, it's important to take the best players in the best positions, but you have to build in the trenches and go out. And then, so hopefully they do that. Whatever coaching staff here, we'll have plenty of time to talk about all that nonsense going forward. So I'm really not ready to start throwing coaches and everybody under the bus like John is and trade off Lamar and do all kinds of crazy bull crap. Okay, Mike, are you prepared for the rundown segment that you like to do?
I am. Some of it's going to be a little redundant, so I'm going to skip a few of my questions, but I'm going to give you boys the rundown, current sports topics, some questions for you. I need some brief answers, John. Nothing long-winded, nothing like a Lance Craner social studies lesson. I need something
another
short
drink. I need another
and to
drink.
the point. All right, with your answers. All right, buddy? All right. Just kidding, Mr. Lance Craner. We love you. All right, so the team to beat in the NFL playoffs right now, if you said there was a team to beat, who would it be, John?
New England Patriots.
LA Rams.
Ooh, I like that. All right. If it's a lot of sports talk in Baltimore, a lot of printed media, a lot of, like I said, on the fan, about Lamar and whether or not he'll be back with his contract next year being $75 million against the cap. You've got people saying Harbaugh should go. There's some type of discord between Harbaugh and Lamar. Harbaugh adamantly denies it, says he loves Lamar. If it is Harbaugh or Lamar, who are you choosing?
John?
I'm taking Harbaugh, the Super Bowl winning coach.
Jason?
I'm taking Lamar Jackson. And I'm taking Lamar Jackson. This might be a little more than brief, Mike, but I'm taking Lamar Jackson because there are so many teams out there that have spent years and years and years and still not found their quarterback. When you find a quarterback, let alone a Hall of Fame level quarterback, you don't go. Here, get Jim Isfording on the phone, friend of the show, Jim Isfording, and ask him how it's like to not have a quarterback in Cleveland and to draft Baker Mayfield just to see him succeed in a different place. I'm not willing to. I don't think the organization is too good, Mike. They're not going to be put in a position where some reporter, again, respect Mike Preston. I don't care if it's Preston or some national guy or talking heads, or us, anybody, is going to put them in a situation where they have to choose between those two. They're going to do what's best for the organization. And right now that's Lamar. I don't think that is a choice. I don't think it's going to come down to those two like that.
I hope it's not. I like both those guys. And, obviously Lamar, you don't get rid of Lamar Jackson, 2-time NFL MVP. Maybe and we talked about this off air, Jason, maybe he needs someone to hold him accountable. I don't know if that's a new head coach or just some veteran leadership in the locker room. But obviously, if there are some of these things where there's smoke, there's fire going on with, sleeping in meetings, yada, yada. I don't know how much of that's true. If that is true at all, then someone needs to hold him accountable and change that. But yeah, John, I don't know how long you were alive, though, were you there for the Kyle Bowler years? Were you there for Anthony Wright? Were you there for Stoney Case? I just want to make sure before, you make that decision. All right. Tetsuya Amai, January 4th, is the last day he can get signed, I believe. Posted.
I thought it was January 2nd. It's
okay.
not. It's the 4th.
Okay,
whatever.
That's what I read. I might be wrong.
It's
but
soon.
Yeah, soon. The New York Post says right now he hasn't really had any offers. And where do you think he signs, number one? He's a pitcher, John. You know about Amai. And who is the next domino to fall after he signs? And assuming that he signs before January 4th.
I read some scouting reports, and I don't know if he's going to sign. I don't know if somebody might pick him up on a very cheap deal, but I think some of these other guys, I think the other teams are looking beyond him, looking at the range of Suarez, at the other guys that are still sitting out there on the market and say, these guys have proven themselves against Major League pitching. This guy's not, he's a top tier pitcher in Japan, but he's not an Ohtani. He's not a Hideo Nomo. He's not one of these guys who comes over with a full book of an arsenal of stuff and an arsenal that can clearly, do things against big league hitters.
So what I just read, Mike, is that it is January 2nd.
Okay.
And with January 2nd, that's soon. He is a Boris client.
Friday.
Yeah, I mean he's a Boris client, which to me comes down to the years is what I think is the issue, which is probably the issue with all the free agent pitchers. Um, I have this weird suspicion that he might come in for a 3 or 4 year situation. I can, I'm going to make a bold prediction. I'm going to say the Orioles sign him because I'm not sure they want to commit to the maybe that's why. I mean, we'll get to this later, but like Zach Eflin just signed, maybe that's why, because they want a little insurance there. Now, Eflin's not going to be ready to pitch probably until June or July, um, from his back surgery in August. But just to be clear, I mean, they might be the ones to do it. Otherwise, it's probably I would say the Mets if I had to, if it's not the Orioles.
And then how does the domino effect work there? Who signs after Amai? Who's next?
I think it will probably be Valdez. I don't know if I just don't know how much see. I keep hearing that there's a domino effect here, but they're all asking for like it's like Valdez and Suarez are like 6 years, and I don't think anybody's ready to do that on those two. So there's going to have to be some jockeying here, but maybe you sign something with an opt out after the very first year. But that's kind of risky for a pitcher. I wouldn't do that if I was them. But Michael King is. But Michael King can opt out every year of his. He could do it after the second year, after the third year. So maybe there's something creative there. But there's two Boris clients here. Suarez, I don't think, is a Boris client, right? So I think you're dealing with Valdez, who's a Boris client, I believe, and also Amai. So to me, it comes down to the years. But if I just something's telling me it'd be Valdez because Suarez seems to be the one that everyone's saying is holding out for the 6 or 7. John.
John, any thoughts?
No, I mean I see the Boris thing, and the more you read about it, the more it's always comes down to the time frame that he's looking for 5, 6, 7 years for pitchers, and nobody's even offering it on the table from the things that I've read. So, is it going to go down to who's going to win? Is it going to go down to 3, 4, 5 years, or are the teams actually going to say, you know what, we need some good starting pitching, and we're going to go to 7 years?
All right. Today, you have to tell me who your NFL MVP is. I know that's coming up anyway. Give me your MVP, Jason.
I'm going to say Matt Stafford is the MVP of the NFL this year.
John?
Drake May.
All right, argue about it. Go.
I mean, Drake May is an inexperienced NFL quarterback, comes in the second year and just kind of lights the league up. And I think a lot of times the voters like things like that.
I think they take into consideration the schedules too, and New England has not. I mean, what they've beaten in the last like 10 weeks one team that's potentially going to the playoffs. Besides, I mean, the Bills, about it. Maybe Baltimore. And then he scores 5 touchdowns. I know it's not his fault who he plays, but 5 touchdowns against the Jets. So, I mean, to me, Stafford is like, I mean, he's in the NFC West, dude. NFC West.
Yeah, best division in football, and he's got 40 touchdown passes and 5 picks, if I'm not mistaken. Whereas Drake is 30-8, and they both have similar passing yards.
Right.
So
now Drake
I mean,
can run a little bit. I mean, he'll add the rushing yards that Stafford
absolutely, and the youth that goes along with it, and he should have other opportunities, I would think, to win it. So I would think maybe Stafford gets a little bit of the sympathy vote if there is such a thing too. All right, next question for y'all: the most underrated. You have to think about this a little bit. Most underrated Major League Baseball signing thus far in the offseason. A signing that might not have been high dollar or maybe high name free agent, but somebody that you think will be a big impact player, maybe under the radar. I'll give you an example. For me, I really liked the Adolis Garcia signing in Philadelphia. I know that he's had a down couple years in Texas, but I think a change of scenery and play in Citizens Bank Park might do him a lot of good. He's always been a great defensive player. I think he might fit well there in Philly.
John?
I'm going through my list here because I was trying to. I mean, there's a couple that I'm looking at. The O'Hearn to Pittsburgh, the Mullins to the Rays, but I think the Shane Baz to the Orioles. I think that could be something where if they can, if we can get out of him what they're expecting out of him, the high velocity, the high strikeout rate, those things, get him in, get him, and then get him signed to an extension. I think that could be a guy who's the number 2, number 3 starter in our rotation for the next 5 to 8 years, assuming obviously he stays healthy and those sorts of things. But I think Baz could actually turn out to be something that's a huge win for the Orioles and be one of the winners of the offseason.
I think Michael King back to the Padres is huge for them because they're trying to figure out a lot of stuff to do there. And I mean, he's got the potential to be the best signing out of all of these pitchers that have signed. I mean, you guys know how I feel about him. But also, I'm going to be a homer here. I think Alonso has that could, even if it's for only the first 2 years or so, I really think that Gunner's going to have an MVP-ish year. Not that he's going to win the MVP, but he's going to have an MVP-ish year because of Alonso. What he does, what that signing does to the rest of this lineup and the Taylor Ward trade, Mike, all of that. I'm telling you, just to be able to add a little bit more strategy into that lineup makes those younger guys better. So those would be my two.
All right, another Ravens question for you guys. For next season, do the Ravens let go of Zio, Todd Monken, both or none?
John, come on. Let's just get them all. Get the truck, back it up, pack the houses, and leave.
I think they're both gone. I think Monken probably goes and takes another job. I've heard rumors of him being in head coaching circles. I heard a rumor of him going back to college. I don't know how true that one is. But Zach Orr, I just don't think after 2 years of having problems, you can't keep him around. So I think Orr is canned, and I think Monken goes for a head coaching job or something, and we'll be back on the drawing board. I could see them moving T. Martin to the offensive coordinator spot. He's very well liked in the organization. He's very well liked, I believe, by the players and things. So then I would hope we bring in a defensive coordinator from somewhere else, an Anthony Weaver, something like that.
Oh no, I think Monken actually is the one that is going to leave, and I think Zio will be back. I read in these message boards and whatnot on Facebook, people talking about Brian Flores. And I said, excuse me, for what? And they're like, oh, to be the head coach. I'm like, why? Do you guys not know what happened in Miami? Like no one has hired this guy for a reason. He belittled those players. He was an embarrassment to that. I don't want that guy anywhere near my team. And Bisciotti is too good a judge of character to bring in a clown like that. So I'm glad it's working out for him as a defensive coordinator. Keep that over there, and that's the end of that little squabble that I have. But yes, Mike, Monken's gone because I think there needs to be a change. Whether it's Harbaugh, whether it's him, whether it's both, I still think now if Harbaugh goes, everything's up in the air, right? Everyone could leave, or be told they're leaving. So assuming Harbaugh comes back, because I don't see there's that one. Who's that hot offensive coordinator out there ready to be a head coach? If anything, there's the defensive coordinator from Jesse Minter out in he's the one guy that I like, but I don't know. I don't really see it happening. So all depending on Harbaugh, but Monken's gone. CEO's still here.
All right. Well, I don't have really an opinion on that one too much. I would like to see maybe some change defensively and offensively to at least team strategy. So maybe John has to get his hands in the pot a little bit to stir things up. If he's not going to get rid of one of those guys, there has to be at least an organizational or philosophy change, in those ranks. NFL Coach of the Year. Lots of really viable candidates for NFL Coach of the Year this year. Some really great turnaround stories. Some really great first-year head coaches. Who would you give that award to? Like I said, you got Vrabel up in New England who's doing an amazing job. You've got Sean Payton in Denver who's doing a great job. And you got a guy like Liam Cohen in Jacksonville who quietly, the Jaguars are a team to be reckoned with this year. But among others, what are your thoughts, Jason? Why don't you go first on this one?
I think Sean Payton deserves it. I mean, that team, everyone knew that when he came in, like it was going to be there's going to be changes. It's going to be his way, and I mean they're the best team in the AFC right now, arguably. The Texans are getting hot and whatnot, and there's a couple other teams like you said, Jacksonville. It's always easy to go after the new first year coaches because they've had such an impact. But we've seen this before, right? The first year coaches they step in and because the team might not be too far off, and they just need that different voice. Jacksonville, New England, but I'm going to give it to Peyton. I think he deserves it.
John?
I like Peyton. I really do, but just to kind of be opposite of Jason, I'm going to go with Mike Vrabel, turning that, coming in on his first year, turning that team around, turning, as much as a head coach can, taking, Drake May and turning him from, okay, what are we going to do with this guy after his first year to an MVP candidate? That's pretty exceptional.
Yeah, and I think Ben Johnson should maybe get some recognition too, because obviously, if you look at Detroit this year and what happened to them, and also look on the other side of the coin and see what Chicago's doing right now, like clearly he's a difference maker and has made a huge difference for the Bears organization. So again, lots of different really good candidates for that.
Well, how about Kyle Shanahan doing it with Band-Aids and tape?
Yeah. And a really undersized quarterback with really, underrated skills. They did a whole segment on him on ESPN today. So really quickly, a couple more. Most underachieving Raven this year. Most underachieving Raven through, 16 weeks of football? 16 games of football? John?
He's gonna throw his own guy under the bus. Watch. Listen.
I am. I'm gonna throw my own guy. I mean, there's two guys on the defense I'm gonna throw under the bus. The two rookies. I think Mike Green and Malachi Starks. I think both of them have been underachieving over what we were told, what they were expecting, and I think nothing against either one of them. I think they're going to be outstanding defensive players, but I think those two guys, I mean, there's a whole bunch of people, but I think those two guys are number one and number two.
I got one I don't think you guys are going to even believe I'm going to mention, but I wanted to bring this up previously. Kyle Hamilton, underachieving defensive player.
I thought about that.
Made another Pro Bowl based on his name and his recognition. I don't know if it's the way that they're playing him or whatnot, but as far as and yeah, you got to keep an eye on that player, but the impactful plays, like finishing plays and whatnot, it's just, to me, isn't quite there. And it's definitely not $100 million player in my mind.
That's surprising.
Last night when that receiver went right down the middle between him and Roquan, I don't know if that's a miscommunication or what it is, but that's $100 million player there takes that wide receiver, and Willis doesn't throw a 40 or 36-yard touchdown pass in the second play from scrimmage.
Sure, absolutely. I think you could also look maybe at Isaiah Likely as somebody who didn't really shine this year. He didn't pop hardly at all. Or you maybe even like a Roger Rosengarten on the offensive line, who's played better of late but did not play well early on. Those two guys popped into my mind. All right. I'm going to make this the last one. Actually, you know what? One quick one and one more. So the one quick one is this. If Lamar doesn't play this week, can the Ravens still win?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we talked about it. I do think that they could still win. I don't know if they will, but they definitely have a very good shot at it.
Here's the one thing Snoop gives you. Let me just say this real quick. The one thing Snoop gives you is he takes out the pass rush. When Snoop's playing quarterback, there is no pass rush because he gets rid of the football.
Can we also talk about his teeth and how beautiful they are? And I mean, I think we could do an entire segment.
But Lamar has gold teeth.
Yeah, great, awesome. I mean, this man's like a I don't know, a walking chick lick commercial. It's terrific, man. I could do a whole segment on it.
Colgate white teeth whitening.
He could do like a flossing commercial and make lots and lots of money. Last question though for you guys. All right, end of the game on Sunday, whatever it's played. I guess the schedule will come out during Sunday Night Football tonight at some point. Tyler Loop lines up for a 52-yard game winner. What's your percent confidence that he makes that kick in Pittsburgh?
Less than 10?
Oh, God, John. Oh, schnockies.
He hasn't hit anything. I think he's missed, 4 from over 40?
34%, Mike. 34%.
So you think there's a one out of 3 he makes it?
Correct.
Okay. I'll say 40% just to be a little more optimistic, but I think it's south of 50-50 is my guess, right?
Have I mentioned I hate kickers? And have I mentioned also that I hate the new kicking rule? And I'm sorry, if you're a kicker in this league, you got to figure out this new rule and how to do it because he has killed us on kickoffs this year a couple times. Got to figure that out.
You know what I hate too, Jason? Massage parlors.
What? Oh my God! All right,
he's tying it back in, Jason, to our former
I'm
kicker.
aware of what the man is doing.
Yeah. Very roundabout way of doing it. Very concise.
Oh, Lord.
How about Jordan Stout though? Made a Pro Bowl. That's pretty cool.
I mean, he's gonna get a couple
What was his
bucks.
average? What was his average? I didn't see it last night, but it seems like every game he's got to kick over 60 plus yards net, which means that he's putting hang time on it and he's getting it down the field.
That's quite a weapon, especially now, like you mentioned. I mean, that's quite a weapon going into Pittsburgh.
50.3.
Holy crap! Yeah, wow. I mean, if you're trying to control the game and keep the ball, that's one hell of a weapon too for field position as well. Because like I am nervous that Rodgers is gonna sit back and pick apart, so they're gonna have to figure out how to get to Rodgers. Like they're gonna have to blitz, they're gonna have to take chances. And then we'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, having that type of weapon out there, pretty awesome.
That's the rundown, boys.
Well, Rodgers got lucky today twice. He fumbled the ball forward to his running back, and then he got hit and fumbled it right to somebody else too. So the Browns got a good rush on him and had two strip sacks, but just, obviously they didn't go the Browns' direction. But that's the thing I think is that's going to be the big key Sundays. Can we get him on the ground?
Sure. Well, we've already talked about the O's a little bit. We do. The only thing I really just wanted to mention here real quick, throw out there, so what do we actually think is next, guys? So let's just mention Zach Eflin signed a $10 million 1-year contract with a mutual option for a second for 2027. Fantastic. I love it. The man can still pitch. He looked very uncomfortable the majority of last year when he had to throw. And I'm wondering now, again, when it first came out, I know Mike very, very well. And he was thinking the same thing I was. He goes, oh crap, is this going to be it? Is this the signing we've been waiting for? Are we done? But it can't be because the dude can't get on the mound. He was told 4 to 8 months from that back surgery, and that was August. So I want to err. It's your back. It's kind of important. And he's older. I would like to err on, say, May or June. Of course, I don't know his timetable, but for the Orioles to sign him, to me, it speaks volumes, Mike, that they're like, oh, maybe he's ahead of schedule. We'll see what he can do at spring training.
Yeah. I mean, you only have one back, and one front. So you got to keep those organized and intact. Mm-hmm. But I think Zach spoke highly of the Baltimore organization, and I could tell as he was hitting free agency, it seemed like he was wanting to keep the door open to come back to Baltimore because I do think he enjoyed his time here. And when he is healthy, as he was a couple of years ago, he looked really good. He might have been our best pitcher at stretches for us, a couple of years ago. But obviously, like you said, Jason, he just wasn't right this year. So I think what a great idea to get some depth in your rotation by signing him, not expecting him to be maybe a top 3 in your rotation, let him be a 4 or a 5, when he's healthy, come back and just ease his way back in. Or if you need to have a spot starter, if you actually do sign an ace and somebody goes down in the rotation, you feel comfortable plugging in a real major league pitcher into your rotation and continuing on, like a lot of these contenders do, like the Dodgers and the Red Sox and the Yankees, where they plug in a real starting pitcher and not just some lottery ticket from the minors to fill in that role or just to plug a hole.
Yeah, I would love for Povich and Young and who else am I missing? Cam Weston, I guess. Who's the number one guy in the organization right now? The pitcher, Mike. I can't ever think of his name.
McDermott?
No,
Oh,
no.
Gibson?
Gibson.
Trey
All these
Gibson?
guys
Yeah.
to stay. Now Gibson maybe more than 1 year, but all those guys to knock the door down at the major league level because they're pitching so well in AAA. They start down there because you have enough depth on the major league roster. And I would love for Tyler Wells. I want him on this roster in the bullpen. Like, and just to make that, like, stretch him out in spring training, whatever. It could be that same situation where they had to make an emergency start a couple times and he'll come in and do whatnot. But having Eflin like that just makes all of that possible. And then hopefully they're signing another two, because let's be honest, none of those free agent guys out there I think are really true aces. And I think Bradish is slowly an ace here. I really do. Let's just hope, but he might only pitch 150, 160 innings this year because it might be taking it easy on him. And then we don't know about Rodgers, but we'll see. Yeah. So what do we think? Now that's the move today, John. What do you think the next move is from this club?
I think it's going to be another starting pitcher. I think they're going to need to get somebody to a solid number 2. I mean, maybe a number 1, but I think it's going to be, one of the guys that we've been talking about. But again, like we talked about just a few minutes ago, it's all Boris guys, and they all want 6-7 years, and the Orioles just aren't going to do it. So I think as it gets closer to spring training and a lot of these big name number 1 guys and aces are still on the market, I think that they're going to settle. And I think the Orioles will end up signing somebody for 4 or 5 years for 120 million, maybe a little bit more.
Mike, I think I kind of was stewing on this, but you were asking about Amai and the domino effect. I think the years will be the domino effect. So if he signs for 4 years or 5 years, you'll see the other guys say, okay, 5 years is fine. This is what we're going to see. But I asked you the same question. What is the next move, and who do you want? And double part, like 2 parts to this, who do you think they sign or trade for?
Yeah. So I would like to see them obviously sign another starting pitcher or trade for another starting pitcher. I'm not sure that's the next move. Like you said, Jason, I just think those guys might be signed a little later on once they kind of come down off their cloud and figure out that they're not going to get 6 years, is my hope at least, unless someone really jumps and decides to overpay because they're getting anxious. But the one thing the Orioles have done now is they have some depth in the starting rotation where they don't have to really reach for one of those guys and give them 6 or 7 years, because they could just maybe use some of their depth pieces and trade for another pitcher if they really, really need to upgrade the rotation. So honestly, if you're asking me what's next, I think they're just going to look at what they have positionally and in the bullpen and just try to add and upgrade in certain areas. Like, I'd love to see them sign one more reliever. I don't know. Fairbanks just went off the market. Somebody else just signed too. A couple other relievers just signed. But I think that market's dwindling, so I wouldn't be surprised if you see a relief pitcher sign next. Or if there's a utility guy who becomes available, or someone they think that would upgrade that utility spot, with Jeremiah Jackson really being the guy I would think right now. I don't know if somebody like an Arias or something like that doesn't get signed, and maybe you can get him for 1 year and 7 or 8 million. Why not have that guy as your utility guy and then have a real major league player there in place of somebody who still isn't quite proven on the roster, and a team that wants to contend for a World Series, I think, this year, and they're really showing it.
I think the only issue with the Arias thing is, like, he's not your typical utility guy, right? He can play a little second base, he can play first base, but he can't play anywhere else. He hits the crap out of the ball. Like as far as like that's the type of guy that is going to help your lineup. It's why he was stuck with the Padres. But his market seems like I don't hear a lot about him, but he could be one of those
No,
kind of
no,
under the
and you don't
table
hear a
type
lot
guys.
about him, Jason. I'm curious about why he's not popular, but I guess it would be because of, like you said, maybe he's pigeonholed. But I would say the one thing about the Orioles is you can move some of those other guys around. I can move
Right.
Jackson Holiday to shortstop. Westberg can play somewhere else. So where you might only be able to play Arias at second base or maybe even first base once in a while, you have enough positional rotational depth there where you can move other guys around to fit him into your lineup once in a while, 2-3 times a week.
Right.
I want to see Danny Coulomb back. I think he would be a huge, inexpensive arm to put in that bullpen that knows Baltimore. And I think, like you talked about in the interview the other day, why the hell did we get rid of him to begin with? That was not smart.
I wonder if I think that's unlikely because the end of last year he was kind of pigeonholed again by more injuries to the arm, and they've dealt with a lot of injuries, arm injuries, Mike. I'm not sure if they want to keep going down that well again, but I get it. I mean, the familiar name. I mean, good pitcher as well. Um, the other thing for me is I just don't know where like there was I was listening to a podcast today. It was a national podcast or a Major League Baseball national podcast, but they had the Nationals beat writer, one of them on there. And they're looking for a first baseman. And they mentioned several times that the Orioles would be a good fit and that there have been some talks there. Now, I don't know if that somehow, it just seems, Gore seems very expensive to me. So maybe that's why that hasn't happened yet. And based on what Shane Boz costs, he wouldn't be as expensive because Gore doesn't have as much control. But they were in the same draft together. So they're relatively the same age. As far as that goes, I mean, there could be some bullpen help from there. I don't know what else they have in excess of. So, I mean, I would look at that because of a Mountcastle, maybe even a Mayo if you want to swing bigger and bring something back. But yeah, other than that, like I actually expected, like with the Amai thing, because it's the second, I really thought there'd be more things here. Like I thought that people would be, because I don't think they're going to wait until January 2nd to do it. So that's kind of where I'm at there. But yes, I'm very excited. Yes, I want to talk about the Ravens, but I really want to talk about the Orioles, and I want more things to happen, and I want them to fill this lineup. I want them to do all of the things. All right, do you guys have anything else you want to mention about the Orioles? All right, John.
Yeah.
Your new segment that we have given you autonomy on against our better judgment. John out in left field. What is your subject tonight, and what are we doing here?
So my subject tonight is taking advantage of people's valuable time. Right? So
I think that every day when you text me. I don't know. I can relate.
I
Are you
figured
speaking
that.
about your listeners? Is that what you're talking about?
Right.
Yes.
Sorry, everyone. Sorry.
I'm speaking about our listeners, and I'm speaking about people in our lives, right? So, like, why would you come into a car dealer or any place of business knowing that you were closing at 7 and that buying a car or buying whatever you're going in to get is going to take you several hours? Why would you come in at 6:30, 6:15? If you're knowing you're going to buy you're not coming in to buy like something that you don't know anything about and you're like shopping. You know what you're buying or you know what you're doing. Why do you come in at the closing time? Because then I'm there, or the salesperson or wherever, they're there until 10, 11 o'clock at night. Then you got to be there back bright and early the following morning. So, Mike, you work at a school, right? You have school hours. When the bell rings, the day starts. And when the bell rings, the day's over. But, in other places, like in life, like value people's time. Value that, people work hard, and when they put up terrible, like when the Ravens put a terrible product out on the field, they don't value our 3.5 hours on Sunday afternoons. For all those years, from 2001 to 2007, 2012, and then after, They didn't value our time. The Orioles haven't valued our time since 1983. So we need to think about what are we spending our time doing? Because clearly people don't value our time. Our favorite sports teams don't value our time. Our clients don't value our time. Nothing values our time. And so we may need to reconsider, gentlemen, what we are spending our time on, and if what we are spending our time and devoting our lives to actually love us back. As they said in the movie Fever Pitch, and they asked Jimmy Fallon, have the Red Sox ever loved you back? And that is a thought that I have watched many hours of garbage baseball. I have watched many hours of garbage football. And have the Ravens or the Orioles ever valued our time? Just the same way that customers don't value my time. What do you guys think?
Oh, John, I don't know. I mean,
I don't know where to start, John. Is he giving himself a round of applause?
no, that was me. I figured out how to do this.
Oh, good. No, I didn't. That would make it even more funny.
Fantastic. Okay, this
Jason found all the buttons too.
I did.
Once.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, John, when the Ravens sign a big name free agent, I think that helps me feel better about my time once in a while. I'm not sure how to answer the rest of that, except for the fact that I buy a car once every, 25 years. And sometimes I don't know how long it takes. Maybe. I don't know. But I don't think I would come in like a half hour before the closing time. I think that's.
Well, now you're just going to come to me, and I'm going to give you the best deal you can get because
you're going to give me a car. Okay, I'm in. Perfect.
We're like that, Mike. Mike and Jason, if you guys buy cars from anyone other than me, we're going to have a problem.
That's how my wife was with like real estate. That's fabulous.
Exactly.
So, okay, I am that guy that would come in when we were looking for cars. I'd come in at the end of the night before they close. It's a strategy because you don't want me to leave. So you're going to throw everything and anything at me. And I've gotten some much impatient type people at that point, and then they get all pissed off because the banks are closing up and they can't get the financing figured out and all that. And it's great. And then they get mad and they just want to get it done. So yeah, I mean, there's a strategy to it. That's why people do it. They don't do it because they don't like sit there and say, you know what? Oh, I finally we can go, because they know it's going to take hours. They're like, all right, they close at 7. We're going to get there at 6:50. Ha. So yes, strategy to it, John. But I get it. You're right. I mean, have the Orioles loved me back? I mean, I don't know. I would like to think that they love my back and my front, Mike, and everything about me.
You know how much money I've spent on Orioles and Ravens merchandise in my life? A lot of money, and they have never loved me back.
Okay, hold on. So wait a minute. I don't believe that you own anything that is a real Major League Baseball logo. I think all this Chinese, Taiwanese, and everything. Don't lie. Like,
I'll send you my recent Fanatics order list. When it's 60% off, I have a difficult time not finding the next nice pullover or something,
All right, last thing here, because we have wasted everybody's time, just like John said today, with all of our nonsense and shenanigans. I think we are trying to aim to have a show possibly this week coming up. I don't know if it'll be before 2026 or not. So just in case, wanted to do a little exercise. I want to know your biggest disappointment. If you need to do more than one, it's fine. But your biggest disappointment for 2025. And then we're going to talk about your biggest. I want to know if you have a New Year's sports resolution, you have something you want them to do, and what you're looking for the most to 2026 in general, sports or not. So let's start. Biggest disappointment in 2025. John?
The Baltimore Ravens not winning the Super Bowl or not advancing further in the playoffs than they did. That was probably my biggest disappointment in 25. We had high hopes for the O's, but they were high hopes, but they were dashed very soon. So I just kind of gave those up.
Okay. Mike?
That's a good one, John. I mean, what a disastrous year for Baltimore sports in general. But Maybe either that, John, or and the Orioles obviously are an honorable mention. This year's Ravens team is an honorable mention. But how about the Terps? Like I thought they were really primed to make maybe an Elite Eight or a Final Four type run. The way they were gelling, and then to see what's his face, the bald guy that I don't like very much anymore, that went to Villanova. Very mad about that.
Kevin Willard.
Kevin Willard, yeah, Kevin Willard going to Villanova. I think that might have been the low after the Ravens losing, and then that, and it just was not a good start to 2025 sports year. And then the Crab Five just basically disbanding, and the Terps having to start all the way over again.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's kind of a mix of 2025 was a very rough on the Weisbecker family. Now, sports-wise, it was also, I mean, a little of the Terps, a lot of the Orioles, and a lot of the Ravens. But if I had to pick just one, it would have to be the Orioles 2025 season. Extremely optimistic, maybe too optimistic about it. That's why I'm going to be a little more reserved for things like that. But that would be mine. So let's do your. What are you going to miss about 2025? What was the most exciting thing that happened in 2025 in your sports life, Mike?
Jeez, that's a tough one. Put me on the spot.
Maybe you hit a hole in one.
That wasn't 2025. That was 2021.
Oh,
yeah,
fantastic.
but I do.
Golf is much easier if you do that, Mike. You know, Happy Gilmore told us that.
I should try to do that more often. Yeah.
Every hole.
Let's see. I would have to say, for me, I guess I didn't get to a Ravens game this season, but you know, I really enjoyed going last year. I went to the Bengals game last year. And that technically was in 2024 probably, but I want to call it last season. And that was really exciting. Went with a friend, you know, Chris, a mutual friend of ours. And that was the back and forth Ravens-Bengals affair with Burrows throwing and Lamar throwing and running. It was just a crazy game. The Ravens won. But that was probably my high for the sports year of 2025, I would say.
What about you, John?
I don't know. 2025 was just a hard year in terms of sports. But, you know, I mean, I got to go see two O's games back to back at Tampa because nobody wanted to go to an outdoor game when it was, you know, 95 degrees with 200% humidity in the air. So I got to go. I mean, I got to go see a couple O's games back to back without having to really drive too far. So that was pretty good.
Oh, yeah, I have an honorable mention too, Jason. I just remembered too. I got to take my dad and my sister out to Pittsburgh, and we watched an Orioles game at PNC Park. And just the family feel of that trip was really fun, and to show them that stadium and
that stadium was awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That stadium was awesome.
We had a blast.
It's actually ranked one of the best, and I'll get to why I'm saying this, but ranked one of the best places to visit if you haven't been to that ballpark. That's one of the top ones. You'd been there before, though.
I had once, yeah.
Yeah. So for me, it's actually the Crab Five. I think it was the Maryland basketball season last year. It was so exciting. Like the tournament run, and like to be able to follow the team. Derek Queen's shot in the tournament. Just watching that whole situation for me was a big one. And then also getting to go to probably almost a dozen spring training games last year in Sarasota and Clearwater, and doing all of that and being close to that. That's pretty sweet. So yeah, that would be mine. Okay, what are we most looking forward to in 2026, John?
The end of the Ravens season.
The end of the Ravens season. Why
you are such a curmudgeon. Negative. I just want to get you in a headlock and give you a noogie like one of my kids right now. God bless.
But no, I'm looking forward to the Orioles. I really think that putting those two bats, like you said before, putting the Alonso and Ward bats in the lineup behind Gunnar will give him more pitches to hit and will turn him back into the MVP caliber player he was last year when he had, or 2 years ago when he had Santander behind him. I'm very excited to see what happens with this Orioles club offensively.
Mike, you put your kids in noogies, in headlocks and give them noogies?
Yeah, you not do that? Is that something you and Cole don't do that? Probably not.
Oh no, we definitely do that. Usually
No, so, John, look at the NFL playoffs. I mean, anybody
Playoffs.
can. You make the playoffs, anybody can make it to the Super Bowl. I don't understand why you think that you want to see the end of the Ravens 2026 season. If the Ravens make it into the dance, they can get all the way to the Super Bowl. There is not an NFL team out there that is a super team right now. The closest thing, probably Jason says, the Rams, maybe with the Seahawks, one of those teams out in the West, but you won't see them until you reach the Super Bowl. The AFC is wide open this year, and we've done it before in 2012. I don't understand, with at least one home game in the playoffs, if we win a division, how you don't think we have a path to the Super Bowl. So I don't like your curmudgeon-y self and your negativity towards the Ravens. I can't deal with it anymore. It's already enough to have that always nagging Oriole thing that they haven't won a World Series since I was 3 months old. And then you're going to bring this into the play. Just, God.
It
Bless.
doesn't make any sense, John. I mean, look, you have new life. Like, I get it. If they would have lost last night or Pittsburgh would have won, like, I get it. But like, they have new life. They live to fight one more week, and then that's it. Like, they get to decide. Like, this is all you can ask for in football season is that you're in control of your own destiny, and that's 100% where they are. And the playoffs started on Saturday, so round one done. Round two is next Sunday, and then so on. And you know what? One game at a time, 1 week at a time. And we'll deal with one each week, dealing with the Lamar saga. Okay, so that was yours, Debbie Downer lady. Mike, what are you
I have a
most
couple.
looking forward to?
Yeah, I have a couple. Obviously, the Orioles season. I'm excited to see them get to start over with a new manager and Pete Alonso in the middle of the lineup. My family is going to Ireland. I've never been to Europe, so we're going to Ireland, Scotland this year, and I'm hoping maybe to play around the golf there. That would be amazing. And then I'm looking forward to the World Cup. That's coming up in the U.S., Mexico, Canada, and there was one in 1994 when I was 11 years old. And this might be the only other one I see in my lifetime, depending on what happens. But with the number of mayonnaise and butter sandwiches I eat, so I would love to. I can't afford a ticket, unless I get lucked into one or something like that. But just to have the World Cup on U.S. soil, see the U.S. team, see how they do. Their draw looked pretty good, and see how they do. I'm excited for that.
I almost forgot about that. Oh, I don't know how I could. Oh, yeah, that will be very exciting. I mean, for me, I think the Orioles season, I like finishing up, but I'm not ready for them to be done yet with the offseason. Like, this is very exciting to me. How you construct a major league team, what do you do, the ins and outs, negotiations, all of that. I want that to finish, and then I'm really looking forward to this season. I also would like to. I think I'm going on a. I'm going to try to pick a stadium I haven't been to. That isn't like crazy. Like, I don't think I'm going to California for numerous reasons. But I would like to pick a stadium and then go watch the Orioles for maybe it's Toronto this year, because Steve Molesky said that it's a fantastic place to go. So I was actually going to reach out to him and some of the other guys, Bruce, and see if anybody can give any suggestions on where you need to go to watch a game. Not you,
Field in
John. I
Minnesota.
did not
Target
ask
Field.
you.
Target
I
Field
did
in
not
Minnesota
include
is
you
nice.
in my names. I want professionals, not curmudgeons and bitter Betty girls. Okay?
Well, Target
No, I
Field is very
appreciate that.
nice in Minnesota, and it's only a 4-hour drive from Miller Park in Milwaukee, which is only an hour and a half drive from Wrigley in Chicago.
Fantastic. Ooh, I'll have to look into that. And then I guess overall, like I said, 2025 was extremely rough on my family. So we're looking for, what was it? The year of the snake was last year. We're shedding ourselves and we're starting off in 2026, but I think it's the year of the horse. I'm not 100% sure. That's the wife's thing.
You said
But
horse, right? Just to be clear.
yes. Yes. Not
Yes.
Game of Thrones. It's the year of the holes.
A year of the
year of the
fire
horse.
horse. Of the
Yep.
fire horse.
So we're excited. We're moving forward. We're making changes. You'll soon find me in a farm by you. That'll be
Hey, let's not forget too the genesis of Dad Bod's Crabcakes and Sports was in the year 2025, which has given me an awesome outlet to talk about sports. I don't know about you guys, but definitely a lot of fun, and enjoyed hanging out with you guys, a couple times a week.
You know what? We're coming up on our 1 year anniversary next month. I think our first episode dropped like the end of January, if I remember correctly. So we need to have a celebration.
A big to do.
Yeah, maybe we need to get all of our guests on at the same time.
Oh God. I don't know. I think that's called controlled chaos, John. All right.
Or bring all the lacrosse guys back.
That's why we leave. That could be fun. That's why we leave the planning to Jason now.
My brother in China would like to come on at some point in time, so we get international guests.
Okay, so slow down for a second. So I've heard this is now the second time this is brought up. Like, is there what is happening in that episode, John? Like, if one were to come on the show, they have to bring something to the show. What would they be bringing to the show?
Well, he could bring some Lance Craner stories about our family, and some insight into the Ravens, and him watching the Ravens in Chinese and things like that. I don't understand what they're saying, but he does, so it's all good.
My. All right. Well,
maybe we'll get a Chinese kicker back someday. You never know.
I would like you all to vote and tell me, do you want another Lance Craner on this show? We've already had multiple Weisbeckers on the show.
Feel free to leave it in the comments.
Your brother had an exciting story though about being on the front page of the Baltimore Sun. That was an exciting.
My story to tell about him, because I tell it hilariously.
And I've known your brother for 30 some years too. So
that's
it made it even funnier.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, that's what we wanted to do, just in case we do not talk to you all out there in 2000 and before 2025 ends. But everyone give yourself a round of applause. Fantastic. Now that I know how to use these things, it's gonna be great. Yeah. I mean, that's all I got tonight, guys. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
Nope.
As always, if anything happens with the Orioles or the Ravens or anything we need to jump on and talk, like we finally find out Lamar's out for the rest of the season, we'll jump on here and see what we can do. Whatever. I feel like I'm John now with my negativity. But yep, that's all we got tonight. So for John Lance Craner, Michael Frisky, I'm Jason Weisbecker, and it's been great. We'll see you all next time.
Don't forget to subscribe to Dad Bods, Crabcakes, and Sports on Red Circle, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, or wherever you get your free podcasts. And while you're at it, leave us a review. It really helps us out. We're trying to spread the good word about Baltimore sports far and wide. Follow us on social media for more behind-the-scenes actions, memes, and bad sports takes. You can find us at Dad Bods, Crabcakes, and Sports on Instagram, and Dad Bods, Crabcakes, and Sports on our Facebook page. Until next time, keep rocking those dad bods, eating those crab cakes, and never miss the game.